Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about conjunctions. We've mentioned conjunctions earlier in the year, but today we're going to talk a little bit more about them. A conjunction is a joining word. The ones we usually see are and, but, and or. These connect words, phrases, or simple sentences. A conjunction can be used to connect a compound subject. That is when a compound subject has two or more simple subjects that share the same predicate or verb. Subjects are joined by the conjunction and or. Sunshine and rain make a rainbow. So you can see sunshine and rain are both subjects in this sentence. We're using them together, so we have to use a joining word to hook them together. So sunshine and rain make a rainbow. So this is a sentence would be called a compound subject. Here is a compound predicate. A predicate is the verb, if you'll remember from when we talked about parts of sentences earlier this year. A predicate by itself is just a verb. A compound predicate just means there's two or more simple predicates or verbs that share the same subject, and they are joined by the conjunction and or. Raindrops bend. Well, raindrops is our subject, and what do? They bend. They bend and divide. So the raindrops are doing two things. They bend, and they divide. So we use the conjunction and to join bend sunlight and divide it, two predicates. This makes a compound predicate. So remember, predicate is just another way of saying verb. A compound sentence. A compound sentence contains two or more simple sentences joined by a comma and the conjunction and, but, or. Clouds appear solid, comma, but they are made up of water droplets. You might be asking yourself, how can I know if this is a compound sentence? Well, if I cover the conjunction up, that's not going to work. If I cover the conjunction, would it make two short sentences? Clouds appear solid. Yes, that's a sentence. They are made up of water droplets. Yes, that could be a sentence by itself. But we've chosen to combine the sentences. In this particular case, we've used the word but, because we're saying they appear solid, but they're not really. And so we're using the word but. You can also, in a compound sentence, remember you can use and you can use or. The last situation we're going to talk about where conjunctions are used is a series of words. It's a series of three or more words used as adjectives, adverbs, or direct objects, and they are joined with the conjunction and or. Commas separate items listed in a series. So, rainbows are always. Well, they've listed the colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So after each of the colors, you see a comma. And then just before the last item in the list, we put the word and. That's a signal to the reader that my list is coming to an end. So a series of words is another place you use a conjunction. Let's do some examples together. Here, I have written some sentences, and we're going to find the conjunction and decide what they're joining. Round or spherical raindrops usually fill a cloud. Well, I know my subject is raindrops. And what are the raindrops doing? They're going to fill, and cloud is my DO. Well, I found my conjunction here, the word or. Now I have to decide what these are, round and spherical. What are they doing in this sentence? Well, round and spherical are describing the raindrops. So I know in this sentence I'm combining two adjectives. Let's look at this sentence. Water and glass bend light differently. Well, I know that these two are my subjects because I'm talking about both nouns. So this is my conjunction, and together they make my subject, and they bend. Bend what? Light. And the word differently is an adverb. So if I had to say what this joined here, since it's joining two nouns that I know are my subject, this conjunction and is joining two subjects. Next, we have this sentence. Two rainbows were reflected brightly and clearly. Well, first I want to think about my subject. Rainbows were, that's a linking verb. Oh, but look, it's joined were reflected. How would I handle that? Because what does it mean that they are, it's part of the verb? It does. When you have a helping verb beside a main verb, this becomes your verb. So two rainbows were reflected, and here we have brightly and clearly. Well, here's where I have my conjunction and I have to think about what are these two words in this sentence. What are they? Brightly and clearly, I know, are describing something. What are they describing? They're describing how they were reflected. So since they're describing the verb, I know that these are the two things being joined are two adverbs. Here, Megan saw a rainbow and photographed it. Now I have to think about what's going on in this sentence. Megan is my subject. And I have to think about what Megan did. Well, I know Megan saw, but she also photographed. So Megan did two things. So I have a joining word, and. So Megan saw a rainbow and photographed it. So this is two predicates because Megan did two things. So my conjunction joins two predicates. Next, and this is the last example we'll do together, Megan photographed the clouds and the rainbow and the clouds. So Megan photographed what? Well, usually the answer to what is our direct object, but here we have a joining word. Did Megan photograph one or the other? No, she photographed both. So this conjunction is joining two direct objects. In your assignment today, you're going to be practicing finding the conjunction and then identifying what has been joined. Remember, think about what the words that are being joined, what are they doing? Are they describing something? If they're describing something, if they're describing a noun, you know they're adjectives. If the two items being joined are two nouns, you probably means you're combining two subjects. If you're combining two things that describe something and they're describing the verb, you're joining two adverbs. You can join two predicates if the subject of the sentence is doing two things. You also can have two direct objects if the person and their action that happens to two things. That's two direct objects. And also remember, there are a series of words. That is another option that you'll have on your assignment. So two subjects, two predicates, two adjectives, two adverbs, two direct objects, and a series of words. So you will have those choices as well as two sentences. Remember, a conjunction can also join two sentences. One helpful clue. If you have the word but used as a conjunction, that can only be used when joining two sentences. When you see or and, you have to think what's being joined. But if you see the word but, you know that that's two sentences being joined. Also, when you have two sentences joined, and or can also be used. So pay careful attention as you're deciding what's being joined on your assignment. If you have any questions, please let your teacher know by email or text.